Good morning. You listen to FloorDaily.net, and I'm Kemp Harr. This morning, my guest is Jeff Meadows, the president of sales for Mohawk's residential business. Jeff, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Kemp. How about yourself?
I'm good. I wanted to see how business is doing. Last time you and I talked was at Surfaces in late January. How's business been since then?
You know, I think it's been a little better than it was the second half of last year. A lot of retailers I talked to during the shows were having a pretty good January, and then the ones I've talked to recently have said that they've had two or three bumpy weeks here in the last month. I think just due to a lot of the uncertainty that's out there in the market.
Yeah, I just left the wood show and was talking to a lot of people there. I heard a similar story that the first quarter for many of these companies was up over the first quarter of 2024. You know, a lot of those buy decisions, were made when everybody was excited about the presidential election being over, but that everybody's a little uncertain about what the next couple of months are going to bring.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. There's a lot of uncertainty. If you think about our customers in retail, the one thing they don't want in their business is uncertainty. They want certainty. Yeah. Anytime that they feel like the balls may be going up in the air and it makes them feel uncertain about the impact on the consumer, it causes them a little angst.
If you read any of the editorials I write in Floor Focus the last couple of months, I'm trying to be positive. The economy, the GDP is still positive. Retail sales are still positive. So we need to make sure we don't talk ourselves into a funk here. But I did want to ask you, based on this low consumer confidence that we're hearing and some of this uncertainty, how is Mohawk positioned to weather this period we're going through?
First of all, I would tell you that our care stand business remains really, really strong. So I think people that have money, there's less uncertainty in their pocketbook. And if they're going to do a project, they're going to go ahead and spend the money. So on a positive side, the high-end consumer is still spending in flooring, which is nice. It's the mid-consumer price point that really has been suffering for the last, call it 2 years. Kemp, we made a decision in 2020 that, look, the world, you think back of all the LVT uncertainty over the last 10 years, there's been one issue after another, right? Between the child labor, container shortages. I mean, you can go one after another, and there's almost always the first group of tariffs back in 2016. It's been nothing but really uncertainty. And so we made a decision in 2020. We're going to try to take as much uncertainty out of our hard surface business as we can. And we started investing both in resilient plants domestically and on our Revwood plants and laminate plants over in Thomasville. To put it kind of in perspective, we've doubled the size of the capacity in Thomasville since 2020. That's huge. We were betting a little bit on the come, right, when we did it, and it's played out very, very well with all the dynamics and all the different changes. So for us, we feel like regardless of what happens in the market, regardless of what happens internationally with all the announcements, we probably are the largest manufacturer in America to bring certainty to an uncertain market. I'll go back to PureTech that we introduced 17, 18 months ago, which was the first kind of non-PVC resilient product in the market. We brought that to the market because, A, we wanted to have a non-PVC product, but also because if anything ever happened in the future that created more uncertainty, we would have a domestically made resilient product that our retailers could get a hold of, and they know what the price points are and things like that, number one. Number two is, Revwood has consistently grown at a very high rate over the last 5 or 6 years, each and every year, and it's just not a retail situation. It's grown a lot in retail. It's grown a lot in builder as well, because the Revwood product, we basically have zero claims on that in either channel. Primarily, it's easy to install, it's scratch proof, it's no acclimation. So there's a lot of positive things. And I can tell you, we do plant tours in Thomasville all the time with retailers. And when they leave that plant, they're like, wow, that blew me away. The technologies that we have in that plant, and they see how all the products are made, the different things we have there, that they walk away there with a really strong impression. And usually they go back and they sell more of it. That's kind of how we're approaching it.
You mentioned laminate picking up some share. We're working on our annual report for this May issue, and we're running the numbers right now, and we're seeing the same thing. So you've got this Thomasville plant, and I think it was 2 years ago you rolled out that signature technology for the visualization that made it look so real. And then they had too much filler and not enough plasticizer failures on some of this SPC. You didn't, but I mean some of the other companies did, and some of the builders moved away from low end SPC. So all those things together, and as you say, this is a domestic supply for you guys. You've also got, this investment you made to buy IVC. You're sitting well there. On the resilient side, obviously everybody knows the carpet story is all domestically made. So it looks like Mohawk is pretty well set up for whatever happens the next couple of months, right?
There's no question. I give a lot of credit to Jeff Loverbaum, but Jeff is a firm believer that he likes to control his own destiny, and where a lot of companies wouldn't necessarily invest in American plants and American-made products, he's doubled and tripled down on it because he firmly believes that is our future.
All right. So it looks like a couple of weeks we got the NFA meeting in Tampa. I won't be there, but you're going to be there, right?
I will be there. Looking forward to seeing all the NFA customers. It's always a great event. This year, actually, they've invited Jeff to be their guest speaker on Monday. So Jeff will be there, and he's anxious to get there and meet everybody. And yeah, we're looking forward to it.
All right. Well, we'll stay in touch and try to keep the audience informed on where things are headed with some of this uncertainty. It's great to catch up with you. Again, been talking to Jeff Meadows, the president of sales for Mohawk's residential business, and you've been listening to Kemp Harr and FloorDaily.net.